As Osho once said, I'm simply saying that there is a way to be sane. I'm saying that you can get rid of all this insanity created by the past in you, just by being a simple witness of your thought processes. The ego arises from separation, from the illusion that I ends here, and everything else begins over there. From that single fracture, a universe of suffering is born. And from the concept of my house, my status, my identity, the ego inflates itself, attaching what is not self to the self. This is what we call attachment. And this attachment, this absurd, desperate grasping, has been the cause of every war, every murder, every act of human madness throughout history. Make no mistake, human suffering does not come from circumstance. It comes from your desire for superiority, your desire for control. The ego puffs itself up with possessions to feel significant, then clings to those possessions to avoid feeling small. I have observed 500,000 people close up in person, and I tell you now, this is no longer philosophy. This is scientific fact. Pain happens to everybody. Pain is unavoidable. But suffering is optional. Suffering comes from the ego, and it ends the moment the ego loosens its grip. All form is temporary. Everything that has form will be destroyed. The heavens and the earth shall pass away. From dust we came, and unto cosmic dust we shall return. The more we try to hold form, the more it eludes us. Any insistence on certainty, on stability, on control over the things we have attached ourselves to must lead to suffering. Because all is temporary. When you seek control over what is fleeting, you are at war with reality itself. And that is a battle you cannot win. The universe does not desire stability. The universe loves change. It desires constant movement, constant variety. But when your sense of self is built on possession, every change becomes a threat. Every loss becomes unbearable. A relationship ending feels like death, a phase of life closing, unthinkable. And yet, if by some miracle you do achieve the illusion of stability, you are bored to tears. Life becomes flat, insipid, like licking the dust of the earth. What you truly desire is variety, growth, expansion, aliveness. Clinging is not protection. Clinging is the prison. Here is the cruelty at the heart of the ego. Whenever the forms it has identified with are threatened, it feels a loss of self. A loss of self feels like death, and so the ego reaches for certainty, for control, for self-importance, as its solution to pain. But that is precisely the cause of its pain. The ego's solution to suffering is the cause of its suffering. This is the self-sabotage cycle. This is the loop that compromises most people's lives. Always in pain, never satisfied, seeking more control, creating more suffering, round and round, forever. The first way the ego destroys your life is this: resistance to change. As the ego tightens its grip, you lose the very ability to change. A shift in routine becomes threatening. A new idea becomes dangerous. Change requires letting go of how things are, and the ego resists at every turn. I am declaring open war on your ego. In the words of Jesus, "Whosoever shall lose his life shall find it." The willingness to die to what you were is the only path to becoming what you are. Every fear you have is a fear of loss, and ultimately, every fear is the fear of death. Whatever you have identified with, losing it feels like losing yourself, and losing yourself feels like dying. The ego keeps happiness just out of reach. If only I get the job. If only I find the partner. If only I can retire. It is a game rigged for failure. Because the whole point, the entire purpose of this life, is joy, bliss, ecstasy. Not in the future, right here, right now. The game is rigged, but you can walk away from the table. The ego enlarges itself by creating enemies. Having someone to criticize makes you feel more by comparison. Every war fought in the name of nation or religion is a manifestation of this pathological group ego. The ego can attack another not because of how bad they are, but because of how good they are. This is evil at its purest. And from this same root grows scarcity. Whatever the other has feels like less for me. Their abundance diminishes mine. Don't share. Get mine first. Compete. This is the ego's economics, and it is a poverty of the soul. Compulsion is the method of devils. The mathematics of evil works like this. Minus is possible, but plus can never be achieved. You can frighten someone into obedience. You can guilt them, compel them, but you cannot create love through force. You cannot create loyalty through fear. The mathematics of God works differently. I can do something for you, not to pay back a debt, but simply because I want to. From love, from freedom, from the pure overflow of a life not imprisoned by the ego. Free will is the root of all good. Plus is possible. Minus has no space to enter in. The ego is the source of all mental illness. In neurosis, we take responsibility for things not ours. In personality disorder, we shun responsibility for things that are. And in the darkest cases, the ego will kill to preserve itself. Death to the infidel. The greatest insanity, the greatest evil. But here is the truth beneath all of this. We have a choice. The ego brings banality, fear, resentment, and a cycle of seeking that finds no fulfillment. Love brings abandon, excitement, joy, growth without end. You were not born for the soap opera. You were born for the bliss. The choice is yours. It really is that simple.